This episode of the Golf Gambling Podcast from the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with code GOLFSGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Get to the SGPN app for easy and instant access to all of our free picks and podcasts. App Store, SGPN, pretty simple. Okay, guys, we were here. Desert Golf, American Express, new little layout, dark, but we're down. Like I like the vibes we got here. We got some more modern and electric vibes. Shout out Kohler for the graphic design and the videos and the shorts as always. But yeah, we got golf to talk about. The American Express is here. We're going to be going through the DFS board, making our selections from the 10K range, 9K range, and so on. So I'll do a little recap of the what's it called? This Sony with Dom tomorrow. So we won't got to double time it. So we'll just skip right down to the odds board or the DraftKings board. Pulling up my screen, we have a big three up top of Xander Schauffele, Justin Thomas, and Sungjae M. Sungjae is getting the bump finally after he's kind of been a little bit middling in pricing for the last 3 to 6 months, and he gets the bump into the 10K range above some, I would say, serious names. So let's talk Sungjae, Xander, and Thomas and Justin Thomas. Can you pick two of them? How would I rank them? Let's not waste any time. So Justin Thomas so Xander Schauffele is the highest ranked guy. He's a $1,000 more expensive than JT, but I will say Xander Schauffele finished T3 in this event last year, and he didn't really play great last week at the Century, or 2 weeks ago at the Century. So what do you want to take of that? Are you going to take the number one golfer in this field not coming in the best form? I will say. So Xander gets 3 guaranteed rounds here. When Xander gets 4 guaranteed rounds, he usually ends up rising to the top of the leaderboard, although that didn't happen at the Century. And to be honest, he didn't really look great out at the Century when I was following him during the week, and that kind of showed in his golf. Like I was thinking, how much did this guy play over the brick? Because this guy does not look like the Xander Schauffele that we know and love. But I will say he's probably had two weeks to prep, and I hope he was prepping and really grinding because I feel like he embarrassed himself over at the Century. So just based off that, I think I would go with him over JT and Sungjae. I know Sungjae has the course history, meaning he plays here so regularly. Like you're not going to get worse than a T15 from Sungjae, but you're going to get a T5 probably from one of his Xander or JT. JT finished T26 at the Century when he was kind of a lock to finish T10, and he didn't. Now you're getting the Xander Schauffele coming off of a T30, a very poor Century for him, coming to a golf course that he's finished third at the last 2 years. Obviously, Xander and JT both finished third in this event last year. I'm going to say I trust Xander a lot more. Yeah, he's $1,000 cheaper, but I think there's still a rub on JT where it's going to take some ownership off of Xander, and he's not going to be like prime Scotty and 37% owned. He'll probably be close to 24% owned, which is fine. And I do think you're getting a really, really high floor with Xander because he's got those 3 guaranteed rounds. Then he's going to go backdoor some runner-up finish on Sunday. Will definitely be in the optimal lineup. So I vote Xander of this top 3, Xander, JT, Sungjae group. Down the 9K range, we have Sam Burns 98, Patrick Cantlay 96, Tony Finau 95, Wyndham Clark 94, TK 93, Max Grazerman 92, Siwoo 91, and Cam Young 9 flat. Kind of a big range, so we'll split it into 2. Burns, Cantlay, and Finau. Let's rank these 3 players. Who I think is going to finish best out of those 3 players? I'm going to go with Cantlay 1, Burns. Finishing position-wise, Cantlay 1, Finau 2, Burns 3. If you've been following me for a while, Tony Finau is not going to win a golf tournament. Tony Finau does not care about winning a golf tournament. Tony Finau cares about having his floor around T20 and his ceiling around T6. The dude just wants to coast, probably leave he's still on the table to leave after one of these events, maybe withdraw after the show and join live. Probably not going to happen anymore, but I wouldn't be like shocked if it happened. But with that being said, Tony Finau cares about making checks and just helping his kids, not grinding. I know that because you don't just randomly fire your coach after no reason and you're not playing bad golf. And when I was at Kapalua last week, the dude played a long ass round on a difficult ass golf course, and then immediately He's not on the range. He's not training. He's grinding with his kids at the Bay course, just really focused on their level and their golf game. He's a family man. We all love Big Tone, but winning is not his priority. Although this is a DFS show and I think he can make you money in DFS, I'm going to have to go with Cantlay over here, and I probably can't fit both of these guys. So with that being said, Cantlay's at a very, very cheap price for his ceiling and his course history. This is one of the two events that you kind of pencil in Patrick Cantlay for an auto top 10 finish. I know it didn't happen the last 2 years, but the 2023, he fell off late. 2024 was a bad year, but this is a golf course that Patrick Cantlay generally plays very well. This and Harbortown, and I just love him here no matter what. You like Patrick Cantlay when the rounds are slow, and we know that's going to be the case with this Pro-Am format. So I'm definitely down for some Pat Ice at 9.5, and that leaves Sam Burns at 9.6. That leaves Sam Burns at 9.8. I feel like this price is just too inflated. Obviously, he should have won this event last year, but he played some poor golf down the last 2-3 holes. I was there. It really hurt to watch because I had a Sam Burns ticket. Don't want to remember it. So Patrick Cantlay is my guy down here. I think he's just going to be so much more consistent in terms of course fit, course feel. Sam Burns has been driving it better, but he still always worries me with the driver. And as a golf course, you can't really drive it too poorly. And even the iron play hasn't been great from Sam Burns. I saw some decent things from Patrick Cantlay at Kapalua, even though he ended up finishing. He actually ended up finishing 15th, but it was not the prettiest T15. I like Cantlay. Bottom of this 9K range, we have Wyndham Clark, Tom Kim, Grazerman, Siwoo, Cam Young. I'm going to say my favorite guy here is Tom Kim. I can see him being also the heaviest owned guy, but as always, a chalk bomb will hit. And I'm not saying Tom Kim will be a chalk bomb. I just think he is going to be the chalkiest guy over here. Wyndham Clark, I could see people really passing over, and there's a world for him to just get scorching hot in the putting greens. So if Wyndham Clark's sub 8, I think you might have to click him in a few lineups. Max Grazerman, I still think I'm going to take the back seat to him. He finished T24 at the Century, T56 last year. I just cannot trust his iron play. It's really, really bad. Siwoo is a golfer who loves this golf course, always plays really well here. He's got some great course history, and this is the kind of golf course you want Siwoo on. And I think his recent play is going to take off some love in terms of ownership. He missed the cut at the Sony, finished T32 at the Century, withdrew from the RSM Classic, but he hasn't been hitting the ball that poorly in that stretch. I think there's a time where Siwoo pops, and when Siwoo pops, it's at random. This is kind of expensive for him, but I don't think he'll be over 15%, and a cheaper Siwoo in terms of ownership could definitely be some of the nuts in this golf course. Finally, Cameron Young, $9,000. I do love him at shorter golf courses. T8 at the Century, T7 at that doesn't matter, at the Grant Thornton, and T13 at the Hero, which is kind of a bad finish. But I like what he did at the Century. I wanted to look at his strokes gain closer to see really how he did it. He actually lost 5 strokes on approach and has not gained strokes on approach since the Wyndham. But this is a golf course that rivals the Wyndham. And I always say, I love Cam Young with wedges. And this is a golf course that will give Cam Young a ton of wedges. So with that being said, my favorite 2 plays from down here are probably Tom Kim and Cam Young. I don't really love the other 2. Okay, 8K range. We have Davis Thompson, Harry Hall, Kurt Kitayama, JJ Spawn, Nick Dunlap. Those are the guys 85 and above. Ranking these guys, it's definitely interesting. I think a lot of love is still going to come to Harry Hall. What he's doing is just so consistent. But last week at the Sony, I saw him on Tuesday, and I did not love what I saw with the wedge play, and that showed. He ended up losing strokes on approach last week and doing it all with the putter. He's a great putter, but not really a sustainable formula for Harry Hall to play really well. Davis Thompson did not play well at the Sony Open. Let's take a deeper dive at Davis Thompson. He has played well here before. He's got a runner-up and a T21 in 2 trips here. But Davis Thompson also lost 2.5 strokes on approach at the Sony. He has not gained strokes on approach since the TPC Summerlin. This is a course that kind of rivals TPC Summerlin. I don't hate him here. Looking at his course history, it's been great approach play. Gained 2 in his debut when he almost beat Rahm, and gained 4 last year in just 2 measured rounds. So I do like Davis Thompson in terms of a bounce back spot, hopefully, and he's a good price for his level of golf. Kurt Kitayama and JJ Spawn, I'll just say it right now, JJ Spawn is a way too expensive. We talked about him last week. We bet him at 140 to 1. Now he's in this horrible price. Kurt Kitayama, he's just absolutely striping. He didn't hit it great last week, but he had his best putting week since the Travelers. And these greens are very similar to what we see at TPC River Highlands. So I love Kurt Kitayama. I think Kurt Kitayama could be a bet this week. I think he could be a hammer play in DFS. $8,700. Kurt Kitayama is one of my favorite plays up here. Down a little bit, we have, did we talk about Nick Dunlap? No, Nick Dunlap. Nick Dunlap, I say a lot. He has very little dog coming off. I mean, very much dog coming off of that that win last year. He's kind of at a higher price than he's been of weeks late. I don't think that continues because what I saw from Dunlap last week was really not great. His driver swing looks like a mess, and he hasn't gained off the tee since the BMW at Castle Pines. He made it happen with the putter. I think he had his best putting week of his career last week. That's not going to happen again. I'm definitely fading Nick Dunlap, who could be at some decent ownership. Bottom of this 8K range, Will Zalatoris, Eric Cole, Brian Harman, Patrick Fishburne, and Nick Taylor. Definitely a very interesting name. I don't mind Will Zalatoris and Brian Harman. I know the putter is going to leave Will Zalatoris searching here, but he has finished T6 here before, never missed a cut, nowhere has finished in T36. I love what I saw in Will Zalatoris' golf swing at the Century, and that came to fruition because at that Century, when he played well, he was almost the first round leader, played really well. He ended up gaining a half of a stroke on ball striking, and did a lot. He put well too. I think good things are coming from Will Zalatoris. What I don't like is that he had one good round, and everyone decided they needed to bet his major futures. That's just like the dumbest thing ever. When a guy has one good round, do not overreact and bet a future. That's just like a losing bet. I think you should bet the majors the week of or 2 weeks out because you're gonna have so many tickets that you don't realize you have. And like, oh shit, this guy has no chance. Not that I think Will Zalatoris has no chance. I just love when people overreact. Brian Harman did some good things of late. Brian Harman has not played great golf of late, but here we have him playing solidly at the Sony Open, finishing T21, which is not a great result for Brian Harman, but he had one of his better ball striking weeks in a while. He gained just over 2.5 ball striking, gain around the green, gain putting, and he heads to a course that makes sense for Brian Harman. He's got multiple third place finishes here, a lot of made cuts and a lot of trips. So I think Harman could be in for another solid week. He hasn't really been the Brian Harman that won a major championship since he won that major championship. And I'm not saying he's going to win this week, but I think good signs are coming for Brian Harman. And this is definitely a golf course that suits his style of play. So between Harman and Will Zalatoris, I think one of these two players can be all right. Eric Cole, I just think is a little bit too expensive for his ceiling. I mean, his floor. Patrick Fishburne, I'm sorry you can't bomb and gouge it here. Nick Taylor, he's got dog. He doesn't have the best course history here. I can see him coming down to earth. Okay, let's get to this 7K range. Before the 7K range, bear with me. I got a few ad reads. DraftKings, NFL playoffs is here. We're talking about the playoffs. You bet we are. Get in on the action on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Scoring touchdowns is key to winning in the playoffs, and you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings, the number one place to bet touchdowns. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like a player to score 6. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. New DraftKings customers can bet $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code SGP. That's code SGP for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Finally, Stake US. Stake has partnered up with America's ultimate social casino, Stake.us. Stake is a U.S. Free-to-play social casino available in most states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. All your favorite games are there, and even play live with dealers. Use the promo code SGPN at sign up, and you can get $250K in gold coins, which could be used for free-to-play games, and $25 stake cash, which could be played with and redeemed for real cash. Stake.us promo code SGPN. That's stake.us promo code SGPN. Actually, finally, Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all sports. Underdog is always making it easier to win with profit boosts and gimme pick'ems. NFL, college football, college basketball, MMA, NBA, NASCAR, and more. You can now use special and boost on all flex entries. So sign up with code GOLFSGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Underdog Fantasy promo code SGPN. Sorry, code GOLFSGPN. We are done. The ad reads are done. I kind of smashed that DraftKings ad read. I smashed that one. 7K range. 7K range. Jason Day, Nico Echeverria. Let me pull my screen down. Jason Day, Nico Echeverria, JT Poston, Ben Griffin, Tom Hoagie, Denny McCarthy, Adam Hadwin, Bo Hostler. We will stop there. Talk about this group. Who's going to be owned? Who's going to play well? Who's going to play poorly? When will Nico Echeverria ever be priced where he should? I'm not saying this is a good or bad price for Nico Echeverria, but the dude is truly a generational flusher. When I saw this man last week, I was like, this guy fucking flushes. Generational flusher. And that showed. He gained strokes across the board, gained around 2 across the board, which is just such a solid, well-rounded display. And it made sense. Like, it's a golf course that should make sense for Nico Echeverria. He doesn't have the course history here, but he hasn't been a generational flusher since the week before the Shriners, where I bet him at the Shriners, and then he won the next damn week. Nico Etch, generational flusher. He's found something. Just ride the Etch train for sure. Ben Griffin, $7,800, I think is in for a really good week because this is a golf course that suits his style of golf. He's going to love these greens, and he showed some decent signs last week. He got off to a fast start and kind of came back down to earth. But Benny G on a golf course that he's finished ninth last year should definitely suit his game. JT Poston, I bet JT Poston last week, and he just didn't really play well. He's now lost on approach in 2 straight starts. This is a golf course at the core that should make sense for Posty. He's got multiple T7 finishes here, finished T11 last year, and has gained on approach. He's definitely had mixed results, but he's a guy who can heat it up in an instant. I like the top of this 9K, 7K range a lot, but I think the guy that I like the most is Tom Hoagie. Tom Hoagie's coming in off some really solid golf. He was the first-round leader at the Century, was tied for the first-round lead at the Sony, so he's got the good vibes, and he's gained on approach in 3 straight starts. Now, Tom Hoagie has been struggling off the tee, but if you look at his off the tee numbers from the Amex, he's played this event 9 times and has gained strokes off the tee in 7 of them. So clearly he's comfortable out here. He's won on the West Coast before. He's won in California before. The vibe should be high for Tom Hoagie coming into this mid-January part of the season because he started so well, got some really solid reps in. Definitely my favorite play at the top of the 7K range. So if I have to go with one, it's going to be Tom Hoagie. I will mention Adam Hadwin because he's got some absurd course history. I believe he's got like 3 top 3 finishes here, top 4 finishes here with other top 8s, top 10s, top 15s. And he's coming into this week with some of the most quality reps he's ever came into this week with. So I really like Hadwin, but I think that's going to be obvious chalk. I prefer going up to Hoagie or Griffin. I'll rank this. I like this range a lot. So it's going to be Hoagie, Griffin, Hadwin, Echeverria, Poston. That includes ownership and how I think they're going to play. Middle of the 7K range, I think Cam Davis is in for a nice little bounce back week. He didn't hit the ball horribly at the at Waialae. He just putt really bad. And Cam Davis is notorious for playing pretty solid on some club down, shorter, accurate courses. I mean, he didn't hit the ball good. He ended up losing a little bit of strokes, ball striking, but it wasn't anything concerning. I'm down for some Cam Davis flop lag bounce back because he was really chalky last week, and he's a 3rd place here in his career. Keep an eye out for Cam Davis. Sepp Straka, another golfer who should make a ton of sense. He's just going to mint fairways, mint middle irons, should be comfortable on these greens. I like Sepp a lot. He's at a 4th place finish here in his career. Lee Hodges was our gem for us last week. He was really cheap, and he's finished third here before. We're getting Lee Hodges off of a week in which he struggled on approach, but he's really striping the fairways. It's not anything bad on approach. It's not like he's losing 4 strokes, basically field average. But in 2 trips here, he's gained to the field and gained significantly to the field in just 2 measured rounds. So I like Lee Hodges at $7,500. Towards the bottom of the 7K range, I could see golfers like Doug Gim, Jesper Svensson, Alex Smalley, or Lucas Glover making some noise. They all make sense on these types of golf courses. My favorite is probably Alex Smalley. There's a really good connection. There's a really good connection with this course and Sedgefield, which is where Alex Smalley plays out of. And he's coming off of a week in which he really hit his irons well, really hit all of his clubs well. T16, just across the board gains for Alex Smalley. And this golf course, he's played really well on. No worse finished than 25th in 3 straight appearances. So 7K range, bottom of the 7K range, I would say Alex Smalley is my favorite golfer. Taylor Moore at $7,100. I did like what I saw from him at the Sony, but it didn't turn out at all. Lost 3 strokes putting, which is his worst putting week since the St. Jude, in which he bounced back with 4 after that. He usually bounces back after a poor week of putting, but didn't hit the ball well either. He has never finished better than 67th here. Taylor Moore will technically on paper does not make sense, but we know how quick he can heat it up, and he's going to be 3%. So he could be a sneaky 7K min ownership guy that can mint you some cash. I like him as a sneaky pick at the bottom of the 7K range. Finally, 6K range, definitely have some names to keep an eye on. Matt McCarty was there for a little bit, and then he fell big time. He was like almost leading the event at one point on Friday, and then he finished T65. He's never played this event before, but he's really showed that he could play well on golf courses where you have to hit the driver straight and be good with your wedges. Middle of 7K range, Jacob Bridgman at $6,700. He is a guy who can just make everything on the putting greens. He missed the cut at the Sony and the RSM, but he finished T39 here last year, gaining 2 strokes on the greens. He's not a guy who's going to light up the ball striking ever, but I do like the way that he just give you that just unicorn putting week. Middle of the 7K range, I want to see what Aldrich Potgeier and Chris Gotterup do with the driver, because at the bottom of the 6K range, middle of the 6K range, they give you an elite skill set with the driver that a lot of the guys don't have. Like, no one's going to be hitting at 330 on a string, but these 2 golfers will. So Ollie Potts and Chris Gotterup can definitely give you some good things off the tee, and that could lead to just easy flip wedges. And at the bottom of the 6K range, Ben Coles, $6,300. This man's too good to be $6,300 to be like 300 to 1, 500 to 1 on some sports books. He's played this event 3 times, all the way back to 2013. He's made the cut in 2 of them. And looking at his recent results, the dude is an absolute stripe show. He has not lost strokes ball striking since... I'm not talking about off the tee or approach. He's not lost strokes ball striking since the Charles Schwab Challenge, which was in May of 2024. Now, he can't make a putt, but you're getting an elite ball striking talent at $6,300, which is really rare in this field. So I think Ben Coles is a great play down here, and he's played this event before. Bottom of the 6K range, Ben Coles is my guy. I think that wraps it up, because there's no reason to go down unless you find there's no real... Outside of, where's my guy who did not pan out last week? No, he's $6,400, so I'm not even going to mention him. If you want to know what I'm talking about, go listen to last week's pod, because the ball knowers will know at the end. No, you don't have to go lower than $6,300. Or you can take a look at Cristobal del Solar. Cristobal del Solar is a easy course merchant who plays really good on easy courses. The dude shot like 58 on the Corn Ferry Tour and just kind of tore up the really easiest of courses. So I'm definitely down for him if you really want to take a dumpster dive, but I really love Ben Coles down there. So that wraps it up. Betting show, bets will be complete with Dom tomorrow mornings. We have the show coming 10 a.m. Eastern time live. So definitely tune into that and let us know if you have any questions. You know where to find us. Best of luck. Great week last week. I noticed a lot of you guys had Nick Taylor. I had JJ Spawn to hurt. But yeah, we'll be back. Winners soon. Peace out.